Cycler birthday with the package from China. So let's go. Hey, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are going to be doing a chit chat about the PlayStation Mini 5 edition from AliExpress. We have seen many PlayStation, Xbox or whatever clones, but this is the brand new model called the Model X1 from the gamers, or actually this monkey that's holding a controller. That's kind of a brand they're selling there. However, when it comes to these clone mini devices, you never know what you're getting. Where they all started from the 8-bit editions, now we do have an overall cool configuration when it comes to the, let's say, just the box itself. Oh man, if you're looking at those boxes, you know it's going to be bad sometimes. Stunning games, marvel at incredible graphics, and the new PSP feature. So that is one of the things that is kind of interesting, where they are marketing this thing as a PlayStation Portable or PSP 3D 2.4 GB wireless controller game station. Whew, that's a mouthful. But let's do an unboxing and see what we're getting any inside. So when let's say these like weird PlayStation thing controllers. Oh wait, crap, that was different. Okay. So you never know what you're also having with the controller. So first of all, we're going to have the rip-off PlayStation 5 controllers. How are they actually? So they are feeling quite cheap. There is no rumble function in the inside. With the ABXY button, feel quite okay. Select and start. This doesn't do anything itself. Having the home button, the on and off switch over here, I'm guessing it is. And in here we're having the option, or our option, we need to put in two AAA batteries. So let's get myself some rechargeable ones and let's slap these things in. And let's see if this is going to be an overall okay, let's say, experience, because with these controllers we had so many of those PlayStation 2 knockoffs, and here we're having the system itself. So let's see, it's indeed a tiny cute little PlayStation 5, and they did improve it, or at least like change some things out, having a different overall design. The power is like a slider at the front, a reset, LED, two ports for the controllers. At the back we're finding, oh man, the DC in is just a mini USB. Wow, they're still using that. Okay, so they're using their own brand SD cards, and the main problem is you never know what you're getting. It's highly possible that these things get corrupted fairly easy, and the output for the HDMI. Next up we're having over here the toilet paper manual. Let's see if this thing is even in English. Yep, there is, with some basic explanation. Nothing really interesting. Controller number 2, and in here the HDMI. Okay, so there was one thing. Where is my dongle? Did I drop it? Oh man. Oh, here it is. So the configuration where we're getting is a 2-player configuration, 2 controllers, 1 dongle, plug and play. Going to be plugging it in the number 1 over here, and if everything is okay, we should just have this option to play it. Yeah. The weight of this thing is not bad at all, by the way. The device has been connected, and then we're going to be getting a very unique loading screen that I've personally never seen. Oh yeah, and there we go. Oh yeah, with the menu itself. Let's do a quick overview. But let's check out what we can do actually with this device itself. So there are so many different, let's say, new emulators added to this device. We can fairly easy go in here, choose our game and just play. However, what is it when it comes to the menu? Pressing start will give you the main menu, but the weird thing is that there is no advanced options, so everything has been locked. Pressing select will give you the launch the screensaver, restart the system, reboot from the NAND, and then having restart and shut down. So it's quite limited, so it's actually, they cannot really mess anything up when it comes to that. What is cool, you can make favorite list, and for example, if you want to search, press the Y over here. But that doesn't seem to be working because they completely messed it up with the configuration. Normally we're having Y, but they swapped it all out. But doesn't matter. Let's go into the search. So let's say we want to search for Sonic. We can fairly easily do that through this option. And here we're having all of the Sonic games, or at least with Sonic in the naming. It's kind of cool. They also implement the kind of an platform, so you can just fairly easily go in there and just boot up your games from the search And also here you can make yourself the favorite list where we can easily find all of your games. So there are kind of a lot of cool options there. So the home button doesn't do anything, like it's just a start button, another epic fail. And normally we're having different configuration when it comes to like pressing select and start. So let's grab ourselves the other controller. That doesn't do anything at all. So you know, that is one of those things that I hate about these devices, is that they tend just to mess stuff up. Why? Okay, so actually the home button is the start over here. If you're having the option to just mess something up, they actually did that now. However, so getting into the gameplay, it looks how they are using some filter, but the emulation performance of the Game Boy Advance part seems to be working just fine. So I'm also surprised how actually nice the D-pad works. They implemented the joystick as well. So when it comes to emulation performance and stuff like that, yeah, that doesn't have any problem whatsoever. But the main problem is getting out of the menu, because we can't actually do that. So that is a little bit of a downside. So what we can do is using the reset in here, but also that doesn't do anything. So when it comes to rebooting, you need to completely reboot the system. Wah, wah, wah. Epic fail. But let's get into some emulation testing and see how everything works out with starting of the MAME emulator. Okay, so when it comes to, let's say, playing games, that seems to be working all fine. To have this idea that there is some input delay when it comes to playing the games. So with arcade, it's going to be the same story like I've been telling you many times before, and that is that when it comes to games like Tekken MAME and Killer Instinct, they will not run at all. So MAME, arcade, Neo Geo, and the CPS system 123 will work just fine on these devices. So for arcade, it is just absolutely great. But the downside is to this, that somehow they just completely messed up the control scheme, making this impossible to go back to the freaking main menu. So the player 2 also works fine, plug and play, so there's no problem with the mapping. Pressing both of the joystick will give us the option to get into RetroArch, and from here we can just get into some, you can just actually get into the back end and try to do a quick load and quick save, but also we can maybe shut the freaking thing down. So that is one thing I just wanted to see. So here we can resume, we have the restart, we can press B and quit RetroArch, and then we're going to be going back to the main menu. The annoying part is that it will have this saving metadata, please wait. Yeah, so where we did finally manage to get ourselves like an option to get out of the game, besides completely resetting the system. This thing is one hot garbage when it comes to the freaking software. Oh boy. So let's move on to some Super NES to see how the emulation is going to be with the 16-bit era. So where they somehow always mess something up, particularly when it now comes with the general software. I just wanted to see what happens when it comes to play some old school Super NES. And I don't hear any weird things going on. I cannot showcase the frames per second, so for me it's going to be more like a visual and audio wise how I can check it. I've been playing these games so long, for many years, I can just actually dream the soundtracks. But emulation performance is just great. So let's get into the menu. Let's see if we still have this freaking issue. Let's shut down RetroArch and see if we can get back to the main menu. Or does it say the same freaking thing? No, okay, so that seems to be working fine. So it's just a hit or miss. But let's get into some other stuff like N64. We have so many cool things we can do here too. So let's start off with some cruising the world, and the simple reason why is because this is a game that normally just work okay. If we have problems with this game, none of the games will run fine. But with these cheap game boxes, and some of them are, by the way, way overpriced, we have like N64 emulation on native resolution. If you want to play N64, I would say just grab like a mini PC. There are many out there, but several videos how you can emulate N64 and even upscale it to 1080p on a very low budget, like $100 freaking costing mini PC, and it will become way cheaper in the future because technology is rapidly, let's say, getting faster and cheaper. And of course we have like massive of all bulk of e-waste of mini PCs that can run N64 just fine. But we're actually like playing this on this game box, and yeah, is this a great overall experience? Yep, it is. But N64 is going to be in hit or miss, yeah, with most of the time. Same thing going on over here when it comes to the menu, because this one runs through RetroArch. Let's go back to the main menu. Let's give this thing a reboot, and let's see if it also goes back. Yep. But of course we're going to be trying some GoldenEye. So the first thing, oh man, look at those artifacts and all kind of weird stuff going on. So they map the controls perfectly, at least for the joysticks. Well, let's see, we can just use the left trigger for shooting, right. So yeah, this thing, oh man, I would like rather play it on an old school like say N64 than using this. This looks absolutely horrendous. However, the emulation performance of N64 is surprisingly quite good. But you can see that they implemented a lot of tweaks and stuff to get it actually working on this. And this is just what I'm saying, get a mini PC, because you get so much better results. But if you can live with, let's say, the overall performance like this can be a very fun way to experience those old school games. So let's go with the Panasonic 3DO. So this is a system that sometimes struggles on these cheaper boxes, so I think it's an absolutely great test to see how it would work out. Normally I'm just going to be playing this on PCs. Oh man, I can hear from the audio part, this is running really rubbish. Whoa, okay. Yeah, so this is running on very low frames per second. So Panasonic 3DO seems to work like N64. This is not the way how you want to really experience these old school games. So moving on to some Sega Genesis. So let's go with the old school 16-bit days, and yeah, if you're searching for a cheap way to play, yeah, these devices are great for that. I don't have the idea they implemented some weird filters, so it still uses the original, let's say, pixel. However, there is no aspect ratio adjustment going on over here. So yeah, it looks all kind of weird and stretched out. So if you're going to be hitting it, there is no way you can easily like set it up to the right aspect ratio. Next thing we're going to be doing is the Sega Saturn. And one thing I can't really get used to is that they're using the home button for the freaking start. So what I do love about the D-pad, that it is very loose, so it is very easy to play these shmups. Also the analog stick has been mapped. But I can see, but also hear that it does struggle a little bit with the Sega Saturn. Yeah, because it's a quite demanding system and they are mostly running these very basic chipsets. Where two-dimensional games are playable, you will always have a little bit of a struggle when it comes to certain games. But out of the box, this seems to be running just okay. Sega Dreamcast with the Dead Alive test to see how this runs, but I do hear some minor hiccups in the beginning. Let's see how the beta mapping is. Alright, so all of the controls seem to be working fine. But getting through the game, it seems to be working all fine. Yep, there we're having the minor hiccup. The Sega Naomi system on native resolution, because this is actually what we can only use on these devices. The same result that when minor hiccups, we're going to be playing through the Sega Dreamcast. We're getting through the game, this power move, it runs a slightly little bit better. But again, it's also slightly depending on what kind of game we're going to be playing, because some of them will be slightly more demanding. While the overall emulation performance is quite good. PlayStation 1, we have reached the point with these game boxes that they will run all of these games without any problem whatsoever. They will run on native resolution, I've been testing the PlayStation 1 on many cheap mini PCs now, and yeah, we can even upscale to 4K on those things. So the question remains, do you find the native resolution just fine? Then these cheap game boxes are just a lot of fun to get back into the saddle of the PlayStation 1 games. They run perfect without any problem whatsoever. They're using the RetroArch, let's say, cores, not DuckStation or some other ones. So far, so good. They are calling this the PlayStation Portable Game Console. Yep, so pressing the both joystick, we don't have RetroArch now. No, we do have the normal PP emulator. So PP emulator, what a name. However, so the game settings, OpenGL, frame skipping have been set to 1. Yeah, so there's one thing set to full screen. The weird thing is I have running resolution 2 times. That is something that don't make no sense whatsoever. And let's see if we can implement the yeah, just say it wicked, the frames per second. Okay, so let's continue. Let's get into the game and let's boot up. Because when it comes to PlayStation Portable, we do need a lot of power to actually run these games on normal speed. They also implemented some frames per so frame skipping, so frames per second will be more stable. But let's get into the gaming and see how that actually works out. So far so good. I just want to play a little bit through the game. I don't have no idea what's going on with that black, let's say very black part in the screen in the middle. Besides having the glitches and the weird lining, the overall performance is quite good, but they did a lot of tweaking. And for PSP, same story like N64, you should just get into a mini PC. We have seen that the Chinese are creating all kinds of weird boxes. But also surprised how good this game actually plays, not only frame per second wise, but also when it comes to the general gameplay and the controller, because it's quite responsive. Don't notice any, I say, input delays or whatsoever. But if you want to play games like God of War, Chains of Olympus, yeah, those games will not run at all or have a lot of problems, because they're just way too demanding. Let's see what they did with the game settings. Frame skipping set to 4. Oh, that is just freaking hilarious. They did a lot of tweaking. I must give them that. We can adjust the running resolution if you want to. We're not going to be doing that. The anisotropic filtering has been set to 16. So it is kind of weird if you're going to be looking at the settings they have been choosing. So I'm not going to be... I think I shouldn't even bother getting into the game. It's running on 20 frames per second. You know, and this is not the way how you would experience these old school games. It will stutter like crazy. So let's do a chit chat regarding the teardown and let's see what is in the inside. You can just rip it apart like that. It's just a situation of rip and tear. Oh yeah. So let's see what we're finding in the inside. So first of all, Randy mentioned before that the overall construction is not like super bad. Oh man, I got the wrong screwdriver, but let's go on. Let's remove the couple of screws. Oh, before I'm forgetting, oh man, wouldn't it be the first time I'm going to be killing my SD card because I was ripping it out without removing the SD card. But these things, it's a completely new PCB. You can see it on the colors, not reusing any old parts. And they love to do that with those game boxes. But yeah, in the inside of this thing, let's see what we're finding. What for kind of chipset and what kind of cooling, because that is one of those things they sometimes forget or don't really implement. Okay, oh great. Whatever, let's see if we can rip the other side off and... Okay, so that's actually how it works out, so we can remove it now, and they're using this massive, really massive thermoplast. It doesn't really transfer anything. Okay, so he'll glued this piece of metal. Oh, what a laughable joke this is. So when it comes to the chip itself, they're using, there we go. I don't know if the camera actually packs it up. the S905Y2. Don't know what's going on over here with all of this. What the heck is going on with this? What? So, if you're looking at the PCB, it's absolutely a weird shenanigans. S905Y2, so this also explains why some of the things slightly works better than normal, but man, I can tell you, what a joke this thing is. Where I had no idea what to expect from this device, I can tell you that it is in some ways really disappointing. I mean, in particular, I knew there was going to be some low spec, let's say mini, let's say Gamebox Android designed with EmuElec, but it's very limited when it comes to, let's say, the things you can tweak. The controllers are quite good when it comes to that, not like the PlayStation 2 chemical controls I've been complaining about for many years. So the idea for like 8-bit, 16-bit stuff, yeah, that works quite decent and there's no problem there. However, with the more demanding stuff, that is going to be a hit or miss that we have seen many times before. Thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think of this, and it would be great to see you in the next video.